As many of you know, I read all the comments and things that I see online, and I know a lot of the stories that you get enthused about, like me. And this is the wonderful thing about our channel, chums, our community. It's nice sharing information with each other and thinking, wow, you did like that. That was it. Because then I know that, we've got similar interests. And one of the things that's always fascinated me, going around London in particular, and we see this a little bit in York and other sort of historical towns and cities up and down our wonderful country, is the fact that you look at things and think, oh right, what happened there, or what happened to that? And I think what's fascinating is when you look now, and the battle, and I mentioned this in a recent video, for the gasketeers, as they call them, the wonderful men and women that keep those few remaining gaslights still up and running in the very heart of London, even though the current mayor of London wants to abolish them to replace them with LED lighting, because apparently saves money. I mean, and it's more friendly and it's better for the climate. History is just being eradicated, but it's nice to know somewhere along the line people are still doing their best to keep it alive. Let me share this with you. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. Nice to have your company. I hope you're keeping well. It is interesting though, isn't it? History is all around us, as I've often said, and I'm a bit of a history buff, and I like looking at things and stones and walls and gargoyles and thinking, wow, that's been here throughout, and how did that survive, say, all the big catastrophes of the world and everything else they got knocked down? We have a wonderful city in the United Kingdom called Coventry, and I believe one of the worst bombed during the Second World War, but it rose from the ashes. And yet I'm more fascinated in what went missing. That's the thing, isn't it? Now, the gaslights in London, as many know, they try to still get rid of them even to this day, but they're fighting. And the gaslights, really, the very first ones were introduced were in Pall Mall. And the reason for that was there was a lot of gentlemen's clubs, and there was a lot of robberies because gentlemen came out of their clubs a little bit, shall we say, refreshed. And then, the ladies of the night might, help them with their wallets, as it were, right? So they needed better lighting. At the time, of course, Queen Victoria didn't really like, as I pointed out in a recent video, gaslights, because she was frightened because sometimes it would just blow up for no apparent reason, whether they got the temperature right or wrong, So that took a while for Buckingham Palace to follow suit. Once she felt it was safe for others, she decided, oh, okay, we'll have a bash at it, right? But what's a wonderful discovery is this particular area in the heart of Leeds in West Yorkshire. And it's a wonderful cinema that was built, just around the start, more or less, of the turn of the previous century in 1914, the Hyde Park Picture House. Now, I've been in there, and I've got to confess, I went in there when I was very young, and you don't appreciate just, what a wonderful, splendid piece of, history that it is, because when it started out, it was originally sort of going to be a sort of, a newsreel place because of the area, very condensed, and the idea was showing silent newsreels, think about that, and then, of course, the news to the local people. What we now call today 24-hour news. Of course, it very quickly converted into a sound cinema, and very successful for many years. And, one of those places that when you go over the door, you feel like you should be either, if you're a gent in a top hat and tails, or, if you're a lady in a big bustling gown. It just oozes that sort of era, the Edwardian era. And you think of all the people that have walked up those stairs, sat in those beautifully plush seats. They recently had a huge refurbishment, all thanks to a big lottery funding, I believe. But what was interesting on a recent visit, and I didn't know this, and I just wanted to share this with you, because if you're coming to the United Kingdom, you might want to visit this. As I say, it's not that far away from Leeds, a couple of miles out, that's all. You can get a bus if you're in the centre. But it's still the only cinema that has gas lighting. They have 9 gas lamps that are lit every single day. Imagine that. How nice is that, right? To go to the cinema and be sat there as it would have been over 100 years ago. And, they still have the silent films. They still show a lot of the old black and white movies as well on special occasions for the more vintage of us, you know what I mean, who might like a proper movie. And it just got me thinking the fact that, when you consider, and all of the lamps, by the way, being beautifully restored, put together, they look magnificent. But it makes you think how quickly all of that could have been lost. Way back in the early 60s, it was converted into a bingo hole, and at that point it looked very, very, unsure whether it could survive. It could even have got knocked down. Now it's listed. But it's good to know that while they're battling it out to keep the lights going in Leeds, over in London they're still doing the same thing. It goes to show, doesn't it, that history really can remain if we all join together and make it so. But more importantly, isn't it nice to walk under the bathe of a beautiful gaslit lamp? It's still very atmospherical, whether it be, of course, You're Never Alone with the Strand, or more in my favour, Sherlock Holmes. You only had to see the Gaslight and thought, where's Sherlock, didn't you? Let me know what you think to these beautiful, well, still going strong, Gaslights in a cinema hidden away up in Leeds. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.